Good afternoon and welcome to News Blitz on ZTN. Let's take a look at our top stories. Jab us first before schools open. Teachers demand vaccination before schools open. Cop shot by colleague during raid. Zim hospital stuck with corpses for 6 months. And in sport, Makusha targets world champs in Paris 2024. Over 156 million students in 19 countries are still affected by full schools closure due to COVID-19. To this end, Zimbabwe is scaling up efforts to resume classes, which have been deferred by over 2 months. Last week, the government announced that the schools can only reopen after August 10. But teachers are wary of the pandemic and want authorities to ensure both teachers and learners' safety. A Progressive Teachers Union of Zimbabwe Secretary General Raymond Majongwe speaks.
Teachers have really not taken on this issue of vaccination properly. We need to engage the teachers. We need to make sure that if vaccination is going to become an issue, more teachers then need to be vaccinated. And we don't need to be forcing people and threatening teachers. Let's take the vaccination program to the schools like they did with the nurses and the soldiers and the police. Let us make sure that we make vaccination a priority and we make sure that we really follow the necessary guidelines properly, because at this time it appears we are seeing a lot of death, and we don't need to hide that from the people.
Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education spokesperson Taungana Ndoro says any decisions on schools reopening will be guided by Cabinet.
There are so many considerations, obviously, that will be made, but those are made in Cabinet for recommendations. There are a number of considerations. There's a lot of lost time that has been done. There's you need to cover up and you need to catch up. Then obviously, if it's phased, probably the durations will just be very small. But I can't comment authoritatively at the moment.
We caught up with some of the affected learners and they share their experiences on the lockdown and online learning.
Basically, COVID has really just slowed down everything for me. In my case, I'm a student and it has really just slowed my schoolwork, my syllabus and my topics and my school projects. Well, I'm doing online lessons, but they're not giving me the real effect that I'm in a school environment and I need to actually study and stuff like that. And I just feel much more pressurized because I have a lot of things that I need to get onto and I really can't do that while I'm at home.
So not going to school has affected me a lot because the Zoom lessons have measured time of which you don't have the time to ask more questions to the teacher.
The way you focus whilst you're going to school and the way you do your things at home is really, really different. Because being in a class is good for every student because there's competition.
Zimbabwe's largest medical center, Parirenyatwa Group of Hospitals, is stuck with 12 unclaimed dead bodies at its mortuary. The bodies have not been collected since January this year, and hospital authorities are considering a pauper's burial. The hospital has since issued a 21-day notice for the bodies to be collected. Hospital spokesperson Linus Dire speaks.
Parirenyatwa Group of Hospitals has a number of unclaimed bodies. From the 11th of January 2021 to 12 March 2021, the hospital is requesting relatives or family members of the dearly deceased persons to come forward and claim the bodies and give them a decent burial. The claim period will end after 21 days. Unclaimed bodies will be given pauper's burial by the state. For further information, relatives of the deceased can contact Parirenyatwa Group of Hospitals on 0242 701 555 up to 7, or contact our mortuary supervisor on 0773 220082 or 0715 812 561.
The ongoing stress and uncertainty of COVID-19 has led to increased demand for mental health services from psychologists in Zimbabwe. But conditions like anxiety and depression are not the only mental health issues people are facing. Monashe Mkhahlera explored the struggles in the following report.
The impact of COVID-19 has been much more catastrophic on ghetto youths than any other group of young people in Zimbabwe. Not only has the pandemic disrupted the flow of economic activity and sources of livelihood, it has destroyed hope for any upward social mobility for this group. Consequently, substance abusing youth are at higher risk of mental health problems, including depression. Which drug is popular among these young people? Well, crystal meth is a hit. It is a highly addictive, illegal stimulant drug that has a long-lasting euphoric effect. It is known more formally as crystal methamphetamine, but are the young people successfully divorcing themselves from drugs? For drug and substance abusers, getting clean is more than just deciding not to. It requires institution-based rehabilitation. But how accessible are these facilities to these young people? ZTN spoke to Dr. Rukudzo Mwamuka, a local psychiatrist.
The access to rehabilitation facilities in Zimbabwe is actually difficult. There are no government or public sector dedicated rehabilitation facilities. Those who need the service actually have to go to government hospitals or psychiatric units where other mental disorders are managed. But currently there are less than 15 psychiatrists in the whole country of Zimbabwe, theoretically meaning that every psychiatrist serves up to 1 million people in Zimbabwe.
Given the high rehabilitation costs, how many people can afford it? Carol Mashingaidze Tafumane, director of Mandipa Hope, a rehabilitation center in Harare, says not many people afford it. Zimbabwe has 14 psychiatrists, making the situation even worse.
There are not many rehabilitation centers in Zimbabwe. We're one of the few at the moment, and we're trying to do as much as we can to help as many people as we can. But the challenge that we have is that we are expensive. Rehabilitation centers are supposed to be for free, but unfortunately we cannot offer the services for free because we have to pay for the medication, we have to pay for the doctors, we have to pay for the food, we also have to pay for the accommodation.
We spoke to 2 recovering patients who shared their journey from substance abuse.
I was addicted to crystal meth and bronchia. Those were the 2 main substances which I was addicted to. At the end of the day, my mom started to collect all the money so that I could not buy the crystal meth, but my whole system, body and ndakazonotice zvinokangasa upenyu hwangu upenyu zvinokangasa upenyu tandangoswera chimwe nedzana nevanhu mafaita angawandisa obosteri nekungobviringidzawo some of my family members, some of my friends.
But what then happens to those that cannot afford to go for rehab? Zimbabwe's Vice President, Constantino Chiwenga, who is also the Minister of Health and Childcare, says if drug abuse among youths continues unabated, communities will soon be saddled with
Drug abuse acts as a deterrent to life as well as a factor affecting mental health. Despite all the aforesaid efforts and official declarations, a large portion of people continue to abuse alcohol and other substances.
As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage economies and destroying livelihoods, another pandemic is emerging with equally devastating effects, with some people turning to drugs and alcohol for consolation owing to anxiety around job losses, reduced incomes, and disruptions in ways of life because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting for ZTN News, my name is Monashe Mkhahlera.
Moving on, a police detective in Zimbabwe's Masvingo province is battling for life in hospital after he was shot by a colleague during an operation. Sergeant Admire Tichatonga Mupfururirwa was shot on the neck on Saturday morning during a raid on suspected copper cable thieves in Zaka district. He is admitted to Musiso Hospital in the district. According to police, Sergeant Mapfururirwa was assisting a colleague to clear a jammed firearm when it accidentally discharged and shot him. National Police spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati confirmed the incident and said investigations are underway.
Going back to the station, there was an accidental discharge which resulted in one of the detectives being shot on the neck. He is currently admitted at Musiso Hospital. We are still conducting investigations. It's too early to talk of charges. We are still conducting investigations so that we can establish what actually transpired.
Two members of the Zimbabwe Republic Police Neighborhood Watch Committee stationed at Karoi Rural Police Station have appeared in court for allegedly setting up a roadblock in a bush and demanding bribes from motorists. The accused, Mangezi Stole, aged 48, and his son, 24-year-old Talent Stole, were remanded in custody when they appeared before Karoi Magistrate Mr. Felix Chauromwe on Friday. They were facing criminal abuse of duty and extortion charges. The matter was rolled over to August 13 for routine remand. The complainant is Peter Kanyungwa, aged 31, a commuter omnibus operator. South African insurance company Discovery Life is considering COVID-19 vaccination in its underwriting procedure. It said that clients with new policies who indicated that they are unwilling to be vaccinated may be subject to higher premiums. It said that the disease is more rampant than was originally projected and that the risk is higher. Discovery says the decision was based on a combination of vaccination efficacy, vaccine availability, and the longer than expected duration of COVID-19. Discovery Life Deputy CEO Gareth Friedlander said, "I think we have all seen the devastating effects of COVID-19 from a life insurance perspective. It has a huge impact on the mortality across South Africa." Australian police say they have charged a man with impersonating a police officer following an investigation into a fake video that purported to show a senior official plotting to overthrow the government. In the video widely shared on social media, a man claiming to be an Australian Federal Police Commissioner is heard discussing a secret police unit and how Australia's government could be dissolved. The video led to investigations and the arrest of a man in Western Australia who authorities said had been in contact with other anti-government groups. Police say the man, whom police did not identify, had also attempted to source police badges and stamps. If found guilty, he faces up to 2 years in jail. Let's move on to sports news. Zimbabwe sprinter Ngoni Makusha has shifted focus to next year's World Athletics Championships. Makusha now knows how it feels to be an Olympian, and it's an experience he would want again, with Paris 2024 being his other target. He spoke to ZTN.
I'm really glad that I gave the people something to celebrate about. I know that we always expect more, like it would have been nice to get to the semi-finals, but that was quite an experience, and it's something that I'll learn from moving forward. And considering the future, this is the beginning for me. I'm not seeing this as the end, but the beginning for the future competitions to come. There's World Championships, there's the Olympics, of course, in Paris 2023. So I'm just going to prepare for that. And right now, I'm just going to go home and get some much-needed rest. It's been quite a long season.
When cricketers go on one knee, it's usually to play the sweep shot. Chevron's all-rounder Ryan Burl went on his knee last week, but he wasn't batting. Instead, he was proposing to his girlfriend Sarah at a local resort area. He shared the news on Twitter and Instagram. New innings there for Ryan and Sarah. And on that lovely note, we have come to the end of our bulletin for today. Do stay connected with us on Twitter at ZTN News, Instagram at ZTN, and our website ztn.co.zw. Thanks for watching.